I know you said there'll be a time for politics, but you've also said you wanted to change the tone of Washington. Howard Dean recently seemed to muse aloud whether you had advanced knowledge of 9/11. Do you agree or disagree with the RNC that this kind of rhetoric borders on political hate speech?
Yeah. There's time for politics. And, you know, it's time for politics. And it's an absurd insinuation.
In that case, sir, can I follow up on something unrelated?
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to have you here.
Thanks.
I'm a first-year student in South Asia Studies. My question is in regards to private military contractors. The Uniform Code of Military Justice does not apply to these contractors in Iraq. I asked your Secretary of Defense a couple months ago what law governs their actions. Mr.
I was going to ask him. Go ahead. Help.
Well, I was hoping your answer might be a little more specific. I would submit to you that in this case, this is one case that privatization is not a solution. And Mr. President, how do you propose to bring private military contractors under a system of law?
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. I wasn't kidding. I'd pick up the phone and say, Mr. Secretary, I got an interesting question. This is what delegation, I don't mean to be dodging the question, although it's kind of convenient in this case, but never. I really will. I'm going to call the Secretary and say, you brought up a very valid question, and what are we doing about it? That's how I work. Thanks. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Mr. President. I have a follow-up question on your comments about
contagion of violence could spill out across the country, and in time, the entire region could be drawn into the conflict. For America, this is a nightmare scenario. For the enemy, this is the objective. Chaos is the greatest ally, their greatest ally in this struggle. And out of chaos in Iraq would emerge an emboldened enemy with new safe havens, new recruits, new resources, and an even greater determination to harm America. To allow this to happen would be to ignore the lessons of September the 11th and invite tragedy. I would describe the design of planned attacks on buildings inside the U.S. and how operatives were directed to carry them out. That is valuable information for those of us who have the responsibility to protect the American people. He told us the operatives had been instructed to ensure that the explosives went off at a point that was high enough to prevent people trapped above from escaping. He gave us information that helped uncover Al-Qaeda cells' efforts to obtain biological weapons.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you about, because James Baker says that he's looking for something between cutting run and stay the course.
Well, listen, we've never been stay the course, George. We will stay the course. 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 We're just going to stay the course. We're going to stay the course. We must stay the course. We will stay the course. This country will stay the course. We will stay the course. We will stay the course. But we will stay the course. We'll stay the course.
Lila had called to tell me that she was coming down from Flint to Washington, D.C. to attend a jobs conference. On her break, she said she was going to go and pay a visit to the White House.
Who's killed children? Iraqi children.
My son killed.
Kill my people in Spain.
Yes.
It's false lies. Kill people. Your children too.
Yes, my son.
There's business to do in Iraq now, and they killing all these young Americans.
Yes.
For what? For oil. Bush is a terrorist.
No, he isn't. This is all staged.
He's a Bush of
This is all
Iraq.
staged.
He's the
My
Bush
son.
of Iraq.
Where was he
You
killed?
tell me, my son.
Where was he
It's
killed?
not a
Bush is the
stage.
Bush of
Where was he
Iraq.
killed?
He
Kill
was
my
killed in
people
Karbala.
Spain by lying.
April 2nd is not a stage. My son is
They
dead.
didn't have to go to war.
There are a lot of
they
other
didn't
people,
have to
too.
attack our people because of Bush.
Blame Al-Qaeda.
What'd that woman yell at you?
That I'm supposed to blame the Al-Qaeda. The Al-Qaeda didn't make a decision to send my son to Iraq. Ignorance that we deal with everyday people, because they don't know. People think they know, but you don't know. I thought I knew, but I didn't know. I need my son. God's tougher than I thought it was gonna be to be here. But it's freeing also, because I finally have a place to put all my pain and all my anger and to release it.
I guess I was tired of seeing people like Lila Lipscomb suffer, especially when, out of the 535 members of Congress, only one had an enlisted son in Iraq. I asked Corporal Henderson of the United States Marine Corps to join me on Capitol Hill to see how many members of Congress we could convince to enlist their children to go to Iraq.
Congressman, Mr. Michael Moore.
Hey, Michael, how are you doing?
Good,
I'm
good,
good.
good.
John Tanner.
Yeah,
I'm
nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you.
What are y'all doing?
Well, I'm here with Corporal Henderson, United States Marine Corps.
Corporal, I was in the Navy years ago, 1968 to 72. We had Marines guard the base.
Do you have kids?
Yeah.
If any way we can get them to enlist and go over there and help out with the effort. Got all the brochures. And
one of them's got 2 children.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, there's not many congressmen that have got kids over there. Got only one. You know, so we just thought maybe, you know, you guys should send your kids there first.
That's right.
What do you think about that idea?
I don't disagree with it.
Oh, you don't?
No.
All right. Oh, good. Well, here, take some brochures then. Here, at least take a Marine brochure.
I think, yeah.
And pass it around.
Yeah. Well,
encourage fellow members, you know, if they're for the war, to get behind it, you know, and send their own.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Congressman? Michael Moore. How are you doing? Good, good. Trying to get members of Congress to get their kids to enlist in the Army and go over to Iraq. Congressman? Congressman? Congressman Castle. Congressman Castle. Congressman. Congressman. Congressman Doolittle. Michael Moore. I'm wondering if, is there any way to...
Of course, not a single member of Congress wanted to sacrifice their child for the war in Iraq. And who could blame them? Who would want to give up their child? Would you? Would he? I've always been amazed that the very people forced to live in the worst parts of town, go to the worst schools, and who have it the hardest, are always the first to step up to defend that very system. They serve so that we don't have to. They offer to give up their lives so that we can be free. It is, remarkably, their gift to us. And all they ask for in return is that we never send them into harm's way unless it's absolutely necessary. Will they ever trust us again?
He had used weapons. We know where they are. They're in the area around Tikrit and Baghdad and east, west, south, and north.
There is a tie between Iraq and what happened on 9/11.
The struggle can only end with their complete and permanent destruction.
We wage a war to save civilization itself. We did not seek it, but we will fight it, and we will prevail.
George Orwell once wrote that it's not a matter of whether the war is not real or if it is. Victory is not possible. The war is not meant to be won. It is meant to be continuous. A hierarchical society is only possible on the basis of poverty and ignorance. This new version is the past, and no different past can ever have existed. In principle, the war effort is always planned to keep society on the brink of starvation. The war is waged by the ruling group against its own subjects, and its object is not the victory over either Eurasia or East Asia, but to keep the very structure of society intact.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you." If fool me, we can't get fooled again.